This week on What to Watch, the Oscars may be 2 months late to the party, but at least they showed up with some great movies to make up for it.
I hope quarantine never ends.
Plus, the Academy snubs Zoom, returning award shows to their in-person glory.
Now that's all there is to it.
And it's been over 14 months since Parasite won Best Picture, and I don't know about you all, but I'm getting tired role-playing being stuck in the same house.
Are you?
Don't forget to keep those seat fillers 6 feet apart. It's time for What to Watch. Hey everyone, and welcome to Entertainment Weekly's What to Watch Oscar Special, the show where EW staff help you fill out your virtual watch party ballot. My guests today are three people who like me. They really, really like me. Staff editor David Canfield, executive editor Clarissa Cruz, and writer Joey Nolfi. Hey everyone, happy Oscars.
I didn't endorse that statement.
Yes, you do. You know you do. All right, guys, let's get to it. Kicking things off, we're diving into the actor in a leading role category. It's a diverse set of nominees this year, with nods for Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Stephen Yeun for Minari. Now, we here have all submitted our ballots ahead of time, and we'll be revealing them throughout the show. So let's see who we all picked for Best Actor. Oh, look at that. It is a sweep right there. No surprise here with Chadwick Boseman turning in an incredible performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. We all selected him. David, posthumous Oscars aren't that common, but when they do happen, it tends to be a pretty unanimous sentiment, kind of like us here. So does this feel like a foregone conclusion that it's Chadwick's?
It does, which perhaps means we shouldn't take it that way because Oscar likes to surprise us. But Chadwick Boseman's performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, from the moment that film premiered, it has been, I think, the talk of this season, not just for his untimely passing, but for him showing a completely new side of his talent and really, I think, a graduation in a lot of ways to this kind of stage. Of course, he has a lot of competition. This is probably my personal favorite Best Actor category in quite some time, but I don't see anyone getting in his way.
Yeah, for sure. Riz and Stephen are both first-time nominees here. So, what, if anything, does that say to you about the the changing of the guard in Hollywood? As we're seeing them honor more diverse roles and actors.
I think that we have to look at this year as one of an opportunity. A lot of films in 2020 were pushed and delayed and moved out of this season, and that made room for a more unique set of contenders than we've seen in quite some time. And so you have so many people breaking records and hitting these milestones. Hollywood has been behind the times in terms of representation and recognizing diversity for a long time. And these are really worthy performances.
All right, so for all of you, let's say Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was a movie that came out the year before, that Chadwick would not be in contention this year. Who, for all of you, is your second pick to win this category?
I would say Riz. I love Riz Ahmed, and just in general, full stop right there. But he was just so good in Sound of Metal. I feel like it's a role that I haven't seen him play before, and it's such a magnetic, thoughtful performance, and really, as David said, captured the isolation of this time. So I really enjoyed that one, and that would be my second choice if it weren't for Chadwick.
Joey's going to pick Mank.
Oh yeah, my favorite film of the year. No, I think my heart would go with Riz, but if I'm predicting, I would go with Anthony. I think that Anthony, coming off of that BAFTA win is just it's such a huge win right before Oscar voting begins. So I would personal pick is definitely Riz of the whole category actually, but I would definitely if I couldn't pick Chadwick, I would definitely pick Anthony to predict to win.
I agree. I saw The Father, we're coming on a year and a half ago. And when I saw that movie, I thought that Anthony Hopkins would be a Best Actor shoo-in. And if not for Chadwick, I think that still would have been the case.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Maybe another year for those guys. Of course, Anthony already has his, so I think he's doing okay there. But you guys, we need to take a quick break. Before we do, let's check in with our Best Supporting category picks. Well, we just saw everyone's best supporting actor and actress picks, and that makes 3 categories in a row that we've all had matching wins. We'll see if the Academy's paying attention to our picks. But after the past couple of years, it's kind of nice to see us all agree on something, isn't it? I'm kidding. There's no fun in that. I want to debate. I want to debate these categories, but that's all right. That's all right. These people are deserving. All right, up next, Best Actress in a Leading Role. The nominees are Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. Let's see everyone's picks.
Ooh, Gerrad.
Maybe I didn't quite read up. I don't know. All right, Joey, take us into this one. This is really, I think, the category of the night. Viola took home the SAG Award. Andra got the Golden Globe. Carey got Critics' Choice. And then this past weekend, Frances took the BAFTA. So, how in the hell are we supposed to know who's going to win the Oscar?
We're not. That is the takeaway here. I think, but of any of these stats, the Critics' Choice is definitely a peripheral effect of the causes of the industry. I mean, that group has no ties to the industry whatsoever, neither does the Globe. But those 2 wins provide visibility on the trail. And of these, I think Viola and Frances are the only 2 with actual backing from industry voters who cross over into the Academy. And Viola won with the bigger group that shares more crossover with the Oscars, and in a category where she competed against more Oscar nominees. Because Frances competed in a category that was, I think the BAFTA nominations committee was 4 people, 5 people. And it was chosen by a very small group. No more than 7. It was a very small group. And many of the other contenders that she was facing off against were not nominated for the Oscar, so she didn't really have a matchup against anybody. So Viola, I think, has to be on paper the choice here.
Okay, so what happened here in this race? Because for such a long time, everyone's like, Carey Mulligan, Carey Mulligan, Carey Mulligan, and then now it's not so Carey Mulligan anymore.
I think that it was probably just the pundits sort of maybe overestimating her strength in the race. Yeah, I'm not sure if we can.
Do you think she's undeserving though? Like, if her name were announced, okay.
No, she's my personal pick. She's my favorite performance in this category. I just am not predicting her at this point. Yeah, her work is brilliant, and I think that her trajectory has done a lot of speaking for itself. I mean, this is a performance in a film that in a regular year probably wouldn't have been a contender. It was supposed to come out in April theatrically. That was ruined for it. It was moved to December, where it sort of caught hold of the conversation in a really organic way, thanks to social media. And it has sustained ever since. And Carey's commitment to the authenticity of this rape revenge story, in being so in sync with Emerald's vision for the brutal reality of a story like this, instead of making it a sort of neatly finished, put a bow on it Hollywood story with a really neat ending, I think really speaks to her investment in this film as a whole and why she was able to make it feel like such a lived-in performance that just came naturally to her. So she is definitely my personal favorite of this category.
All right, I'm going to open this one up to the group. Last year, it seemed like Renee Zellweger was a shoo-in for this category. A couple years ago, though, Olivia Colman surprised a lot when she won over Glenn Close. So sometimes you just never know with these things. But who do we think is that Olivia Colman underdog here? Is it Andra Day? Is momentum quietly but strongly enough building for her? Any chance she could sneak in the win, or maybe Vanessa?
I would say, in terms of who's the spoiler here, you really could take your pick. But right now, I think Frances McDormand is a really interesting potential consensus choice, which I think is, in a way, what happened with Olivia Colman being backed by a Best Picture nominee for The Favorite. Ironically, Frances McDormand was the one who announced Olivia Colman, because Frances McDormand had only won the year before for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I think Nomadland, if it has a really big night, she's phenomenal in the movie, so she's going to get a lot of votes. So she's one to watch out for.
Well, I agree with Frances. I mean, I think some people may argue that her performance was too subtle, or that she's, that it was so close to what she is personally. But I still think it was an amazing performance, and she sort of, she was captivating during that entire movie. And I do think that she does have a chance here.
All right, we need to take another quick break. But when we return, my guests are directing their thoughts to a different category. But first, our screenplay picks. All right, so we all went with Nomadland. Apparently, I didn't get the memo that we're all picking Promising Young Woman for Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah.
Is there like a group text that I'm not in?
No. It's only because Trial is very polarizing within our awardist little group here on the podcast. So we talked a lot about that. But I mean, I don't think you're way out of line, Gerrad.
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all.
I will say I was extremely close to swapping Nomadland for The Father. I think The Father is extremely competitive in Best Adapted Screenplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is more likely.
Couple toss-ups. All right, we'll see how it all plays out. All right, anyway, time to put on your baseball caps and get out your megaphones because we've arrived at Best Director. Nominated this year are Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round, David Fincher for Mank, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. All right, let's see who we all went with. Yep, Chloe Zhao. All right, she has swept the Golden Globes, the DGA Awards, the BAFTA Awards, and she's also, as we see now, the unanimous pick for Best Director on What to Watch, which some would argue is the most important win of all. So, Clarissa, I want to start with you. Why do you think Chloe will be taking home the award for Best Director on Hollywood's biggest night?
Because she's won everything. But seriously, her film has everything going for it. It's gotten universally positive reviews. It's won all of the precursors, the Globes, the BAFTAs, the DGAs. It's the first female-directed film to win the Globe for Best Picture. But besides all that, it's a technical masterwork. It's gorgeously shot. It's filled with natural performances from the whole cast, including Best Actress contender Frances McDormand. And the theme of the movie, I think, just resonated for so many. I know when I was watching it, it made me think, what's really important? What do we really need in life? What are we all working so hard for? Which I ask anyway. But I know I'm not the only one who felt that way.
I would say she has an amazing positioning too. She's coming off of an Indie, the writer that was beloved by everyone who saw it, which was a small but passionate group, and she's about to become a blockbuster director. She has Marvel's Eternals on the way, and as well as much more. And I think Hollywood is ready to anoint her in a major way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this year, of course, it's a really big year for this category. For the first time in Oscar history, 2 women are nominated here, Chloe Zhao and Emerald Fennell. Chloe's also the first woman of color to ever be nominated for Best Director. And to top it off, she's the most nominated woman in a single year. She also has Best Adapted Screenplay, Film Editing, and Picture Nod. So quite decorated here. The only other woman to have won Best Director was Catherine Bigelow 10 years ago, wild to think, for The Hurt Locker. And we previously discussed why we think Chloe's going to take home the award. But how, rather, do you think having 2 women director nominees will impact the industry?
Well, I think it's a great thing for women directors in the industry. There were so many female contenders that didn't get nominated. I'm thinking about Regina King for One Night in Miami, Eliza Hittman for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. So there was no lack of worthy nominees this year, or really any year. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that because of the pandemic, smaller, more intimate films had the opportunities to get seen this year. I mean, my worry is that it goes back to business as usual, next year, and the blockbusters return, and there won't be as much space for more subtle projects like this.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be no real change that we see from this. I mean, they like what they like. They never take a landmark and run with it. I mean, that's just what people, I think, need to separate themselves from in this race. This is not like a groupthink. They watch and they like what they like. I say it over and over again. In the circumstances of the race this year, like Clarissa's saying, it's an equalizer based on merit. And I think it's, largely what prompted this year. These movies were able to avoid the campaign machine in a really unique way that we haven't seen before.
Before we go to break, quickly here, Thomas Vinterberg, who was nominated for Another Round, I'm not sure many saw this one coming. What do you guys make of this nomination?
Well, we did not. Yeah, there was a bunch of all caps messaging between David and I when that name was announced. Because I think, David, I was actually saying to you, I think earlier in the week prior, we were like, do you know that there are some people who are saying that Thomas Vinterberg will get in? And we were like, ha ha ha.
Hello.
And then when he ended up getting in there, we were very surprised. But I mean, watching that film, that is a really, really good film. And it is a very well-deserved nomination. I am totally on board with him being in this category. That is a fantastic movie. It's one of my favorites of the last year for sure.
I think Joey just likes it because it took away Aaron Sorkin's spot.
Which is true.
All right, guys, we need to take one last break. But when we get back, get ready, folks. It's the moment. It's the category we've all been waiting for: Best Sound Mixing. Kidding, they got rid of that one, right? No? All right,
They
but
did.
first let's...
Yeah, they did.
No,
They did.
Yes, right. Sorry, guys. All right, but first, let's see what animated feature we're all putting our money on. All right, we were all unanimous again on animated feature, but oh look, Joey's the standout on this category for best original song. We all, me, David, Clarissa, the smart ones, went with "Speak Now" from One Night in Miami. And Joey, tell us about your divergent pick here.
Well, I think it's the sheer amount of money Netflix has been putting behind the campaign for this song. I mean, it's one of the only, if not the only song in this category that actually plays an instrumental part in the plot of the film. And I think a lot of people know that film because, it was a big hit on Netflix. So I think that it's got a lot going for it.
All right, you made a good case there for it. All right, well, there's only one big category left to discuss. And what's that? It's the sound of me telling you it's Best Picture, of course. So let's do this thing. Sorry, I know I've already taken this farther than I should. You're probably thinking, when are we getting this over with? But I hope you had no mad feelings. I'm promising you, woman and men, that I'm almost finished. In fact, we just hit the Chicago 7th of 8 nominees. You've all been so patient with me, and for that, I am truly thankful. Now, let's get on with the category. The nominees for Best Picture are The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. And let's see who we are all predicting. Another sweep here. All right, I hope people are really taking note of these picks for their at-home ballots. Nomadland is definitely the favorite, and the way every other war show seems to be going, this win seems pretty much guaranteed, right, David?
I think this is the most out front we've had a Best Picture contender going into the Oscars in a very, very, very long time. There is just no version of events that I can see in which Nomadland does not win this Oscar. The PGA, for example, does not necessarily go for smaller movies. The fact that they went for Nomadland over Chicago 7, an immediate sign that this movie is the one that the industry is completely behind. And I see no scenario in which that does not play through on Oscar night.
Clarissa, in the past, with Roma and the Irishman, Netflix has kind of been the lead charge in terms of streaming legitimacy at the Oscars. But this year, 5 of the 8 nominees premiered on streamers, made them very easily watched with basic subscriptions. So, do you think this was like a pandemic fluke, or is streaming finally accepted as the future of film?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, because I think the pandemic is going to affect how we watch films for a long time. I mean, I know I'm not rushing out to a theater, even if I'm vaccinated and, the world is safer. I'm not going. So I will still continue to be on the Netflix train. And I do think that it is the future. And
all
the
right,
present.
Finally, yeah, very true. All right, but finally, before we sign off, I want to come back quickly to snubs. If you had your way, if there's one person, one movie, something that you think should have been in there, what's the most regrettable absent pick from all of these categories this year? David, I'll start with you.
Mine is Delroy Lindo, Best Actor for Defy Bloods. I thought he was so extraordinary in that movie, and such a long, phenomenal actor. It was such a culmination of his collaborations with Spike Lee. He's been so great on The Good Fight, over on TV. This felt like such an obvious moment to give him his first Oscar nomination, and it was very clear by nominations morning that he was not going to get it, but I remained outraged, and I think that snub will be felt for a long time. Yes, snub, Joey.
Gonna use the word.
Oh my gosh.
So Joey, who's yours? Anyone else besides Zendaya?
Yes, I think Rosamund Pike for I Care a Lot. That was probably my second favorite performance of the last year. And also just across the board for On the Rocks by Sofia Coppola. That movie is just so cozy and comfy, and it just reminds me of when New York was alive and vibrant, and I really thought that people were going to gravitate toward that because she is such a beloved force in the industry. She is one of the few female directors that I think is sort of afforded the chances that a lot of the male directors are given, and the industry is in love with her, and I really was surprised that movie got nothing.
Well, adding to the On the Rocks train, my snub was Bill Murray. I absolutely loved him in that movie. I thought it was the best and most subtle and heartbreaking as he's ever been. And then the other one is Candice Bergen in Let 'Em All Talk.
Yes.
That was probably besides On the Rocks, probably my favorite of this year. I know the three of us have love, and I thought she was just particularly heartbreaking and amazing in that movie. And to see her not get anything, was heartbreaking for me.
I think what I'm hearing here, and this is a conversation for a whole other time, is the other categories need to expand like Best Picture. And we'll leave it at that. All right, that is our show, our Oscar special. A big thank you to our elegant experts, David Canfield, Clarissa, Cruz, and Joey Nolfi. Good luck with your own ballots this Sunday, and we'll see you next time on What to Watch.